So if you want to understand how to build, like, really deep institutional trust with a foreign government agency,
Right.
you probably shouldn't look at a team of highly paid diplomats. You should actually look at a group of teenagers.
Which I know sounds like a total contradiction.
Yeah.
But it perfectly captures, the reality of what we're looking at today. We are exploring a model of international engagement that, honestly, completely dismantles the standard approach to volunteer work.
Especially student volunteer work.
Exactly.
So we're doing a deep dive today into a recent report. It details a 5-day initiative from July 5th to the 9th, carried out in Mongolia.
Right, by a student volunteer team.
Yeah, Team YOUnite. And they're part of SALT International School's SIA, which stands for Students in Action.
And, the typical visual you get when you hear, high school volunteer trip.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say. It's like teenagers in matching neon T-shirts.
Yes. Awkwardly painting a wall that, frankly, probably didn't need to be painted in the first place.
Right. They take, a few dozen photos for social media, hand out some cheap backpacks, and then just get back on a plane.
Yeah, it's what we often call the parachute drop approach to charity.
Parachute drop.
Yeah, you drop in, deliver this sudden burst of resources, and then you just vanish. You basically leave the community exactly as it was before, just with a fresh coat of paint and some leftover supplies.
Supplies that might not even fit what they actually need long term.
Exactly.
But Team YOUnite is doing, the exact opposite of that parachute drop. They are operating with a level of logistical sophistication and, honestly, emotional intelligence that most adult organizations really struggle to achieve.
Oh, for sure.
And I think this matters immensely to you listening right now, regardless of your field. Whether you're managing a complex project at work or, trying to build a new business partnership from scratch.
Or just wanting to make an impact in your local community.
Right. The playbook these students are using is universally applicable.
Because, at its core, this isn't really just a story about charity.
No.
It's a masterclass in the mechanics of trust. Trust is the currency of any successful endeavor, right?
Right.
And these high school students figured out how to mint that currency in this highly complex cross-cultural setting where, honestly, they inherently started at a massive disadvantage.
So let's start at the structural level, because the report details a specific official milestone that happened during this July trip.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
Team YOUnite didn't just, run some activities. They actually signed a memorandum of understanding, an MOU,
Right.
with the Banzerk District Child and Family Development Protection Agency, which is a mouthful, but it's a very real government body.
It is. And an MOU with a foreign government agency, that is a formal, legally recognized document.
Right.
It outlines an agreement of cooperation between the parties. And government agencies, especially those tasked with child protection, they do not hand these out lightly.
No, I imagine they're incredibly bureaucratic.
Highly bureaucratic and just inherently skeptical of outside groups.
Especially transient student groups, right?
Exactly.
But why are they so skeptical? Because just looking at it on paper, free help sounds like a great deal for an underfunded agency.
Well, because free help is rarely actually free.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Hosting volunteers requires administrative overhead. It requires supervision, coordination, time from the local staff.
That makes sense.
If a group just drops in for 3 days, causes a huge disruption to the daily routine, and then leaves, the agency has expended all this administrative energy for a very short-term gain.
So it's almost a net loss for them in the long run.
Exactly. The government agency needs to know that the return on their administrative investment is going to be consistent.
Which brings us to the timeline in the report. Because this MOU didn't just happen on day one.
No.
It was the result of 3 years of consistently visiting Mongolia. And this July trip, that was actually their 4th visit just this year alone.
Which is incredible.
4 international trips in a single year, built on top of 3 years of prior relationship building.
And that timeline is really the crucial piece of the puzzle here. We have to look at the psychological impact of the parachute drop model on the actual recipients.
Right, the kids.
Yeah. Imagine being a child in an orphanage. Your daily reality involves this revolving door of well-meaning adults who show up, smile, give you a toy, and then just vanish forever.
It essentially trains the children to expect abandonment.
Yes.
It reinforces the idea that, Relationships are transactional and temporary.
It creates an environment where trust is actively discouraged.
Yeah.
I mean, why would a child open up to someone who's going to be gone by the weekend?
You wouldn't.
Right. And what Team YOUnite understood is the sociological importance of consistency. Trust is never just handed to you. It's earned through repeated, predictable presence.
So instead of that sugar rush of charity, a huge spike in activity followed by a total crash, they used a compound interest model.
Oh, I like that phrasing.
Small, consistent investments of time and presence over 3 years, and that compounded into massive institutional trust.
Exactly. The MOU is really just a legal reflection of the human trust they spent 3 years painstakingly building.
The government agency finally looked at these students and recognized, okay, they are actually willing to take on the burden of long-term planning.
They transitioned from tourists to recognized partners.
Yeah.
And once that structural framework was in place, it completely changed how they were able to interact with the children on the ground.
Right, because the programming they brought wasn't just about, playing games in the courtyard.
No, not at all.
They operated highly structured educational programs. The report says they ran Korean language classes, they taught financial literacy, organized sports activities, and provided Korean cultural experiences.
They created an environment of active participation.
Okay, unpack that a little.
Well, the standard charity model often treats recipients as passive objects. You sit there and we give you things.
Right.
But by structuring their visit around education, Team YOUnite immediately shifted the children from passive recipients to active learners.
And the standout initiative in the report, the one that really demonstrates how they applied this philosophy, is this thing they called the SIA Market Program.
This is so fascinating.
It really is. Instead of just taking all the donated goods, the hygiene products, daily necessities, school supplies, and just handing them out, they set up a simulated economy.
Right. The children participated in the various activities and classes, and by participating, they earned simulated coins.
Like getting a paycheck.
Exactly. And then they took those coins to the market that the students had set up, and they had to choose and actually buy the items they needed.
Okay, I have to offer a little pushback here just for the sake of argument.
Sure.
If you're managing, say, 50 kids who desperately need toothbrushes and socks and soap, isn't it vastly more efficient to just line them up, hand everyone a pre-packed bag of supplies, and move on to the next activity?
Logistically.
Right. Like, why force them to jump through hoops with a fake economy just to get things they genuinely need to live?
Well, it depends entirely on what your actual goal is. If your only goal is logistical efficiency, just moving physical objects from point A to point B as fast as possible,
Yeah.
then yes, a supply line is the best method.
Yeah.
But if your goal is human development, efficiency looks completely different. We really have to unpack the underlying philosophy of this market approach because it addresses a fundamental flaw in traditional aid.
Which is the power dynamic.
Precisely. When you are handed a bag of pre-selected supplies, you are a passive object of charity.
Right.
It visually and psychologically reinforces this stark power dynamic. The wealthy, capable giver and the helpless, dependent receiver.
So it solves the physical need. Like, okay, now you have a toothbrush, but it chips away at the person's dignity.
Yes.
It's the difference between, someone handing you a shirt and saying, here, wear this, versus someone handing you a gift card and saying, go pick out your favorite shirt.
That's a great way to put it.
One solves a clothing problem, but the other gives you agency.
And by forcing the kids to earn the items, Team YOUnite expanded the very definition of a donation. It shifted from just providing goods to creating opportunities.
There's a real sense of accomplishment there.
Profound accomplishment. Earning something and making a choice about how to spend your own earnings changes everything.
And it connects directly to those financial literacy classes they are running. Like, the SIA market wasn't just a game to make distribution more fun.
No, it was a real-world, practical application of the curriculum.
Right. They were teaching these children how to budget, how to make purchasing decisions based on limited resources, and how to prioritize their needs versus their wants.
And then rather than just leaving them with abstract concepts on a chalkboard, they immediately provided a safe, physical environment to practice those exact skills.
The market bridged the gap between theory and reality.
Completely.
And honestly, think about how often we do this in our own lives or workplaces.
All the time.
How often do we strip agency away from the people we're trying to help or, the teams we're trying to manage simply for the sake of efficiency.
We think we're doing them a favor by just handling the problem for them.
Exactly. But we're actually robbing them of the opportunity to develop their own decision-making skills.
We prioritize the speed of the solution over the growth of the individual.
Wow, yeah.
Team YOUnite deliberately introduced logistical friction into their supply distribution because they recognized that the friction itself was the educational tool.
They respected the intelligence of the children enough to let them navigate that friction.
Beautifully said.
But, let's talk logistics for a second. Running a fake economy with real goods for an entire orphanage requires serious inventory.
It does.
And a high school bake sale is not funding 4 international trips a year and stocking a market with hygiene products and daily necessities.
No, definitely not.
So how did they actually pay for this?
This is where we see Team YOUnite operating less like a traditional school club and way more like a highly professional NGO.
Right.
The project had significant corporate backing. The report highlights that they secured sponsorships from Donghai Metal Co., Ltd., and Haisung Vikon Co., Ltd.
Wow.
Yeah, real corporate sponsors.
And it was through these corporate sponsorships that they funded the supplies for the market. But the report also notes they are actively preparing a scholarship program as well.
Yes.
So they're moving beyond just immediate physical needs and educational needs and trying to secure the children's long-term future.
Which is the logical evolution of a sustainable support model. Once you establish that baseline of trust, and you introduce long-term planning through financial literacy, you have to provide a pathway for those aspirations.
You can't just give them a goal with no way to reach it.
Exactly. They want to motivate the children in their studies by showing them that continuous educational growth is actually supported and achievable.
But just to go back a second, securing funding from multinational metal and engineering companies is no small feat for high school students.
Not at all. And the part of the report that really stands out to me is what happened after the trip.
The reporting.
Yeah. This completely student-managed team drafted detailed project reports and provided them back to their corporate sponsors.
Because they were proving their ROI, return on impact.
Return on impact, I love that.
Right. In the corporate world, return on investment is easy to calculate. You put in $1, you get $2 back.
Sure.
But in the charitable sector, especially when you're dealing with human development, it is notoriously difficult to quantify impact.
And corporate sponsors want to know that their money didn't just disappear into the ether of good intentions.
Exactly.
So what does a return on impact report actually look like in this context? Like, how does a teenager prove that to a corporation?
It involves moving away from just emotional appeals and focusing on data and methodology.
Okay.
A standard student group might send a thank you card with a nice photo of the kids smiling.
Right, the classic voluntourism follow-up.
Yeah, but Team YOUnite is providing a breakdown. Like, here is how your funds were converted into inventory for the SIA market.
Wow.
Here are the specific financial literacy metrics we taught. Here is the operational framework established by our MOU with the Mongolian government.
And here's our roadmap for the upcoming scholarship program.
Exactly. They are providing the corporation with a concrete narrative of systemic change, backed by real logistical evidence.
They're speaking the language of their sponsors.
And by doing so, they're addressing the fundamental, fatal weakness of almost all student organizations.
Oh, the turnover rate.
Yes, the graduating senior problem.
Right. You know, a club is founded by a highly charismatic, incredibly driven junior. For 2 years, the club does amazing work.
Yep.
Then that student goes off to college, the institutional memory vanishes, and the club just completely falls apart.
The momentum dies because the entire organization was built on a personality, not a system. But by securing an MOU with the government and establishing a formal data-driven reporting structure with corporate sponsors, Team YOUnite is externalizing their institutional memory.
The corporate report isn't just for the sponsor, it serves as an operational manual for the next generation of students.
Exactly. The corporation isn't just trusting the specific teenagers who asked for the money, they are trusting the system those teenagers built.
So even when the current leadership of Team YOUnite graduates, the pipeline remains open.
Yes.
A framework is intact for the incoming freshmen to step right into. They've engineered sustainability right into the DNA of the project.
They've created an infrastructure of aid that outlives their own high school careers, which is a level of foresight that is rare in adult organizations, let alone student clubs.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's zoom out a bit and look at the actionable takeaways from this report.
Sure.
Team Unite proved that real volunteer work is not an event, it's a continuous process.
Very true.
By transforming a one-time act of service into a long-term, legally recognized, and sustainably funded partnership, these students showed that massive systemic change doesn't require a billion-dollar endowment.
No, it requires consistency, empathy, and a willingness to build actual systems.
And they achieved this by prioritizing the agency of the people they were trying to help. They didn't bring solutions to impose on the orphanage.
Right, they brought choices and the educational framework necessary to make those choices.
So for everyone listening, I really want you to reflect on this in the context of your own life and your own work. Where are you currently doing parachute drops?
It's a tough question to ask yourself.
It is. Maybe it's a project at work where you just swoop in, offer unsolicited advice to a struggling team, and then retreat to your own desk, leaving them to deal with the operational fallout.
Or maybe it's a personal relationship where you only show up when it's convenient for a quick fix.
Right, rather than putting in the compound interest of daily presence. How might you transform those transient interactions into long-term, sustainable relationships built on actual trust?
Because if a group of teenagers can navigate international diplomacy, corporate reporting, and cross-cultural education.
We can certainly audit our own methods of helping others.
Exactly. And as you think about that, consider the broader implications of what this student team has accomplished.
Yeah.
They successfully restructured international aid on a micro level. They secured formal government partnerships. They created economic systems that prioritize the dignity of the recipients, aligned their charity with long-term educational success, and maintained strict corporate accountability to ensure sustainable funding.
It is an incredibly robust, virtually flawless model of engagement.
So the question we are left with is this.
Right, lay it on us.
If a team of high school students can achieve this level of systemic, respectful, and sustainable impact, what does that say about the massive billion-dollar global charities that still, to this day, rely almost entirely on the outdated, inefficient parachute drop model of aid?
Wow, that is a phenomenal question to leave you with. It makes you entirely rethink the scale of what is possible when you prioritize the friction of empowerment over the efficiency of a photo op.
It really does.
Well, thank you for joining us on this exploration today. The next time you set out to help someone, just ask yourself, are you just dropping a parachute or are you ready to stay and lay to bricks? We'll see you on the next deep dive.